When institutions collapse, narcissists don't fill the void, they create it. Chaos isn't an accident, it's a tool. The psychology behind this would make Sun Tzu nod. Power vacuums aren't neutral spaces, they're vacuums that suck in the most ruthless operators. Why? Vulnerability is their hunting ground. Uncertainty is their feast. The more things fall apart, the more their predatory instincts kick in. Normal leaders need stability. They need systems. They need trust. Narcissists, they need the absence of these things. No rules means no consequences. No clarity means no accountability. No order means no one to challenge them. When a company implodes or a team disintegrates, what happens first? Decent people try to fix things. They try to restore order. That's when narcissists smile. That's when they move in for the kill. This isn't theory, it's battlefield psychology in boardrooms and startups. We'll dissect how narcissists exploit power vacuums, their playbook step by step, the stages of decay they accelerate, the cues that signal a predator is positioning itself. It's yo in no one a day. How they convert chaos into power. Most importantly, why this happens not in spite of human psychology, but because of it. Under pressure, people regress to primitive patterns. Narcissists, they're specialists in primitive dominance hierarchies. The research draws from Kahneman on cognitive biases. Under uncertainty, Thaler on systems breakdowns, and Cialdini on influence without social proof. But we'll go beyond theory to examples. The executive who turns crisis into empire. The manager using restructuring as a weapon. The investor profiting from chaos they helped create. These aren't edge cases. They're predictable outcomes when psychological conditions align. Patterns repeat across industries and cultures. Because the mechanisms aren't about business. They're about human nature stripped bare. In healthy organizations, power flows from competence. In collapsing ones, it flows from projecting confidence when others panic. Narcissists don't just sense this opportunity, they engineer it. They create conditions where emotion replaces merit. Loyalty to the person replaces mission. Appearance of strength becomes more valuable than results. This transformation happens in stages, each serving a psychological purpose. Each designed to weaken existing order and strengthen the narcissist's position. First comes the crisis, not just any crisis. One targeting the organization's most vulnerable points. Maximum uncertainty with minimum resolution. The narcissist didn't necessarily cause it, but they saw it coming. They positioned themselves to benefit. They may have even accelerated it. Their response is immediate, decisive, reassuring. While others analyze, they act, not competence, performance. The performance of having all answers when no one else does. Next comes fragmentation. Organizations have natural resistance to collapse, redundant systems, institutional memory, networks of trust. The narcissist dismantles this by attacking the glue, trust. They spread rumors, play people against each other, reinterpret events to create factions. They knew this would happen. Some of us work harder. Old leadership failed us. Not random complaining. Strategy of division makes collaboration impossible, makes the narcissist the only solution. Then comes the vacuum. Old systems failed. Trust eroded. Factions isolated. Organization becomes individuals looking for direction. This is the narcissist moment. They stop performing and start taking. Position themselves as the indispensable center, source of clarity and confusion. Only one who can make tough decisions. They don't offer solutions, ultimatums, my way or the highway. They consolidate power by controlling information, isolating dissenters, rewarding compliance with access, resources, validation. The organization doesn't heal, it gets a new master. This works because it exploits cognitive biases. When systems break down, people experience loss aversion on steroids. Fear of losing status, security, identity becomes more powerful than rational assessment. This creates a window for mental accounting distortions. People value short-term emotional relief over long-term health. Accept the narcissist's control because it feels better than chaos. Choice between known devil and unknown abyss. Cialdini's principles get weaponized. Social proof disappears. Authority collapses. Consistency irrelevant. Narcissist replaces these with scarcity. Urgency. This opportunity is only for the loyal. Urgency. We must decide now. Commitment. You're either with us or against us. They create a closed system where their word is law. Their approval is survival currency, not persuasion, coercion, but feels like salvation to people drowning in uncertainty. The most dangerous aspect? How invisible this is to those experiencing it. People in the grip don't see manipulation, they see necessity. They justify erosion of checks and balances, accept power consolidation, participate in isolating critics, because alternative continued chaos feels worse. Brilliance of the strategy. Brilliance of the strategies don't force compliance. They create conditions where people choose their own subjugation. Transformation happens gradually, one rationalization at a time, one small compromise after another, one small compromise after another. Consider a tech startup with solid product but dysfunctional leadership. CEO indecisive, avoided conflict. Company losing market share. Mid-level manager Marcus saw opportunity. Charming, ambitious, skilled at reading fears. When quarterly loss hit, Marcus didn't propose solutions. He proposed restructuring, targeting CEO's inner circle. Argued old guard held company back. Positioned himself as voice of reason in panic. CEO overwhelmed, deferred to Marcus's expertise. Restructuring happened. Competent people left, culture toxic. Marcus promoted to coup. Within 6 months, pushed out CEO, declared himself CEO. Company spiraled downward with failed products and demoralized employees. Marcus didn't build better company. Exploited fear of failure to seize power in failing company. Turned weakness into weapon. Another example, nonprofit facing funding cuts. Director well liked but struggled with tough decisions. Development officer Sarah noticed staff anxiety. Began framing crisis personally. Some of us aren't cut out for this pressure. Some more committed than others. Positioned herself as only one understanding real stakes. When director announced program consolidation, Sarah undermined it. Told program director didn't care about their work. Told board director incompetent. Created narrative where she was only one who could save organization. Board, desperate for certainty, asked director to step aside. Brought Sarah in as interim director. First act, fire anyone who questioned her methods. Organization became fiefdom. Mission forgotten. Only Sarah's power mattered. Didn't save organization. Saved herself by turning crisis into personal power base. These examples aren't outliers. Textbook applications of power vacuum psychology. Narcissist doesn't need to be smartest person. Most attuned to emotional temperature. Understands under pressure. People trade competence for confidence. Collaboration for certainty. Autonomy for authority. Gives them exactly what they think they need. Appearance of control. Illusion of safety. Promise someone is finally in charge, even if that someone broke the system. Patterns predictable because based on fixed psychological principles. When systems break down, people experience systematic errors in thinking, rely on heuristics that work in stable environments but fail in chaos. Availability heuristic makes them overestimate catastrophic outcomes. Affect heuristic confuses emotional state with reality. Narcissist exploits these, amplifies fears, creates false certainties, positions self a solution to problems they often helped create, not leadership. Psychological jujitsu, using other person's mind as weapon against itself. Failures mental accounting relevant. In stable times, people can separate work aspects, evaluate decisions on merits. In chaos, mental accounting collapses, everything connected. Fear of losing job colors every interaction. Desire for security overrides all considerations. Narcissist understands this, doesn't argue about strategy, about survival. Frames every decision us versus them. Loyal employees versus disruptive influences. Strong leadership versus weak management. Creates binary world where their position is only safe one. Reduces cognitive load. Eliminates nuance, complexity, dissent. Organization loses ability to self-correct. Becomes dependent on narcissist singular, often destructive, vision. Which ties it into tools of domination. Declares expert by default, only one willing to make tough calls. Scarcity control mechanism. Access becomes reward. Approval becomes currency. Consistency exploited through incremental commitment. Small compromises lead to bigger ones, until person fully invested in narcissist's agenda, each step rational, each necessary, until trapped in system they helped build. insidious part, how it rewires organizational culture. What was collaboration becomes competition. What was shared purpose becomes personal survival. People stop talking about mission, start talking about leader, stop taking risks, start playing politics, stop seeking truth, start seeking favor. Organization's immune system fails, can't distinguish good ideas from bad. Can't tell constructive criticism from personal attack, becomes reflection of narcissist's psychological landscape. Paranoid, grandiose, fragile, ultimately self-destructive. In-game same. Narcissist success becomes organization's failure because goal was never to build something great. Idiots. Finds new vacuum. Starts cycle over. Followers left in wreckage. Wonder what happened. How did we get here? Answer hidden in plain sight. They handed keys to predator disguised as savior. Traded chaos for control. Lost everything that mattered. Not just business problem. Human problem. Happens in families, communities, nations, mechanisms, universal. Vulnerability universal. Vulnerability playbook universal. Only scale changes. Understanding this isn't about becoming more manipulative, developing immunity, recognizing early warning signs. That chaos is an accident, uncertainty being weaponized. Person offering certainty may have created chaos. Cognitive dissonance required to maintain such system astronomical. Followers justify abuse through sunk cost fallacy. We've come too far to turn back. Narcissist weaponizes this, creates more investment, emotional debt, psychological obligation. Sophisticated extraction machine disguised as movement. Look at Theranos. Elizabeth Holmes wasn't selling flawed technology. For charisma didn't work, but charisma did. Narrative did. Promise of revolution worked. Investors poured billions into House of Cards. Why? Not buying technology, buying story, about disruption, about changing world. Narcissist understands this. People don't buy products, buy better versions of themselves. Narcissist sells fantasy of transformation. Behavioral economics meets dark psychology. Dealer's mental accounting shows how compartmentalized decisions. Rational in one area, irrational in another regarding emotional investments. Narcissist exploits these mental accounts, creates separate realities for different audiences, different story for investors, different for employees, different for media, each story calibrated to exploit specific biases. Investor story about exponential returns, employee about making history, media about revolutionizing industry. Stories don't have to be consistent, just compelling. Narcissist concerned with transaction, not truth. What do they need from this person right now? What story gets them that? Most dangerous narcissists aren't loud ones. Quiet architects operate behind scenes. Present facade of collaboration while consolidating power. Master plausible deniability. Create systems where chaos, undeniable, but direct involvement deniable. Plant seeds of doubt that bloom into investigations. Whisper concerns that metastasize into coups. When organization fractures, emerges only one capable of putting pieces back together. Create problem. Essence of narcissistic playbook in organizations. Not overt dictatorship. Subtle control through manufactured dependence. Consider tech startup founder creating artificial crises. Missed deadline becomes reason to berate team. Product setback becomes evidence of sabotage. Market downturn becomes proof of betrayal. Each crisis serves multiple purposes. Each crisis keeps team in constant fight or flight, easier to manipulate. Reinforces narrative of being only one understanding true threats. Creates opportunities to position as sole savior. Team becomes exhausted, fragmented, dependent on founder's vision. Classic trauma bonding. Classic trauma bonding. Team associates relief from crisis with person who created it. Develop Stockholm syndrome like relationship. Relationship. More irrational behavior, more team rationalizes it. He's just under pressure. Geniuses are difficult. only one who can lead us. Narcissist's greatest weapon is mirror held up to followers' vulnerabilities. Spot insecurity, promise validation. Spot ambition, promise power. Spot fear, promise protection. Don't create desires. Reflect and amplify them. Difference between healthy leader and narcissistic one. Healthy leader helps audience confront limitations to grow. Narcissist exploits limitations to create dependency. Former builds capacity. Latter extracts compliance. Difference between coach pushing you to run first marathon and guru telling you you're nothing without their secret formula. One empowers, other enslaves. Narcissist traffics in ladder. Exploitation becomes institutionalized in narcissistic organizations. Culture reflects leaders' pathology. Productivity measured by loyalty, not outcomes. Disagreement framed as disloyalty. Questioning is sabotage. Innovation tolerated only if serves leaders' vision. Organization becomes narcissistic supply chain. Talent valued for feeding ego, not intrinsic worth. Yes, people promoted. Critical thinkers marginalized. Organization becomes insular, incapable of honest self-assessment. Like cult, develops own language, reality, rules. Outsiders questioning narrative converted or excommunicated. Immune system compromised. Can't recognize threats because only threat understood is disloyalty to leader. Financial consequences often catastrophic. Short-term gains celebrated. Long-term sustainability sacrificed.